I'm Alexander Perry Morgan Jr., born in 1924 in Paris, France, and I've lived here since I was 3 in the United States. But essentially, I went to school in New York City, Buckley School, and then to St. Paul's School as a boarding school in Concord, New Hampshire, and then had my freshman year at Princeton starting in June and ending in January when I was drafted for 3 years in the Army till 43 through 46, I guess.
You were here for your 5th reunion at Princeton.
Well, maybe. Anyway, I graduated finally in 49. Was valedictorian of the class in 49. Graduate architectural firm, living in their house in New York City until I became engaged to Elizabeth. And we moved down here to an apartment in our grandparents' house in Princeton, New Jersey, called Constitution Hill, named after the Stockton family who had previously owned the property and where the state constitution was said to have been signed. And we started living in here. Down here, my parents fixed up an apartment in the main house for their weekends and summer visits. And my sister and brother-in-law and her family took over a main part of the mansion for their own house for a number of years until they built their own house on land that the
Vegetable garden.
which now had been the vegetable garden, a big formal rectangular vegetable garden. And I always remember that because there was a crisscross of sort of vineyard construction of posts and beams and things that held up the vines. And the grandchildren's little garden was the first on the right as you came in the vegetable garden. And since then, that has become a separate property. And the perimeter over the years had been sold off, bounded by Stockton Street on the south and Elm Road on the east and Rosedale Road on the northwest. And that's how it was until 1979, going on to 1980, when we had to felt we really ought to develop the land in a different way to make it a better development for Princeton, considering the open space so close to town, trying to keep the feeling of open space and yet in private ownership. So we came up with this system of condominium arrangement which worked out finally after quite a big struggle with the town fathers and everybody, but the zoning board finally agreed with us that this would be the weighted unit, which was to leave single-family independent residences for the 8 properties that would fit on the borough part of the land, which was a small part of the land, and the bigger part of the land in the township could be developed as cluster housing, sort of 2 by 2, spread out around the perimeter of what had been the open field, which also meant that the property already sold off on the perimeter on the east, south, and east, north, I guess it is, east, north, and partially the west would all be saved in open space. And that's where we stood when finally getting the municipal approvals for proceeding with Constitution Hill east and west. And it's divided into the mansion and some units on the east side coming off of Elm Road, and the major part of the new units come in from the northwest side from Rosedale Road, and they divide as just a walking path between the 2 halves, which obviated any through traffic trying to beat the lights at Elm Road and Rosedale Road and Elm Road and Stockton Street.
It was opened at them.
It had been opened, but only trucks really had used it much, and so it became just a path. And I guess that's how it existed, pretty much as I mentioned, into dividing it between East and West Constitution Hill.